All right, welcome to episode 8 of the All American Hoops podcast. I'm Chris Driscoll, and I'm joined by Fadeaway World editor Nick Mack.
Yes, how's everybody doing? Chris, thanks for having me, man. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Nick and I used to go live on TikTok a couple of times, so it's great that the two of us will be talking to each other behind camera again. So really looking forward to it.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, it's gonna be a great time. Um, we are recording on Saturday. This is 2 days after the NBA trade deadline. Not a ton went down, but still a good amount of trades went down to shake things up. There wasn't any blockbuster trade like there was in 2022 with James Harden and Ben Simmons, or yeah. Not that there's often two big trades like that during the trade deadline, but yeah, there were a couple good trades here and there, and including obviously for those of you who watch the show, you know my favorite team is the Boston Celtics, and Nick's favorite team is the Dallas Mavericks. So we'll talk about both those teams briefly. So Nick, so the Mavs big trade, they traded for they traded Grant Williams, Seth Curry, and I don't know if it was a pick or two for PJ Washington with like a second round pick as well. So before I give my thoughts, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a win-win move for the Mets, who needed to do something right now, and this gives Luka yet another offensively versatile weapon who was unable to really reach his max potential, in my opinion, anyway, in a losing situation like Charlotte. I think with PJ Washington, he's still very young. He still has a little bit of upside, in my opinion. And to be honest, Grant Williams was a failed experiment here. Seth Curry wasn't getting. It's not to say Seth Curry of old. He wasn't getting a lot of time off the bench like he was in the past. Started to, but that was more due to injury than it spoke to his actual spot in the rotation. So I'm excited about these Mavericks moves. And apparently Grant Williams had become like just a headache in the locker room too. I don't know how much I read into that. I don't know how much, Brian Windhorst and Bontemps actually know about that. So I guess I'll let just that one be. But if it's true that he was starting to become a headache in the locker room, that's even more of a reason to get rid of him. And like I said, I'm excited about Washington, and I'm equally excited about Daniel Gafford, who we got from the Wizards.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
A really nice backup center is going to work great in the lineup next to Lively if they decide to actually go big and go with that lineup, because I think you almost have like this brand new lineup that you can present. Obviously Jason Kidd's not going to do this. Jason Kidd loves continuity, but just imagine they throw out Luka, Kyrie, PJ Washington, Lively, and Gafford at the same time. That's their big lineup they can go with at times. So to me, that's a huge advantage for them. They've been small forever, and Luka even said it in the press conference the other day. He goes, "I finally got the backup center I've been asking for years."
Yeah.
Because Gafford's a great lob threat as well. So
Yeah, 100% agree with everything that you said there. I'm a Celtics fan, obviously, so I like Grant Williams. I don't. Some Celtics fans loved him. Some Celtics fans were all up in arms with like when he signed with the Mavs. Uh, I was disappointed, like on a personal level, just because like he always got along well with everyone. He was super good friends with Jason Tatum. Which, by the way, if that's true, to where you said about the locker room issues, there's another story about how he started wearing Tatum's instead of Luka's on the team. Like, what the hell? Yeah, that's so weird. Yeah, as someone who's a huge fan of Tatum, that's just weird. Like, why would you do that to your team? But yeah, I just feel like the Mavs.
Think it's not that big of a deal.
No, yeah,
I don't think that's a big of a deal at all.
No, yeah.
No.
I don't know. Yeah, like, maybe it's not too big of a deal, but I also just think it's not a good look as well.
Oh yeah, well, I can agree with that. I can see why somebody would think it's not a good look, but at the end of the day, let's just ball.
It's
you
just
know
neat,
what I
yeah.
mean? Like, who
I agree
cares
with
what
that.
we're wearing on our feet, right? But
Yeah.
I get why in today's day and age that
Social
might be
media,
an
yeah.
issue.
That's for sure. Yeah, but the thing with Grant is he's and I was talking about this with Tobias on the pod last week. The thing with Grant is that when he was in Boston, he was perfect for his role. He was the second, third, even some nights fourth guy off the bench, provided that energy, and he was perfect. He was great for them. Then you put him in Dallas, where he's starting the majority of the games. They kind of wanted him to be that, maybe not anchor, but definitely like the second best defender in that team, and that's just not for him. Like they overpaid him a little too much, and it just wasn't the best basketball move for them. He has his moment. He had his moments in the playoffs. I'll never forget the Celtics Game 7 against the Bucks when he outplayed Giannis. That was absolutely insane. But yeah, between Grant Williams in 2022 and Kelly Olynyk in 2017, it's always those nostalgic moments that you remember, and not what they did as the whole. But yeah, those are a little, like with, so that's him with the Mavs. Seth Curry, Seth Curry used to be a great player. He's almost as good a shooter as his brother, but again, just not the best fit with the Mavs. Asked to do a little too much once everyone got injured. But yeah, and I don't know how good they're going to be in Charlotte. The Charlotte Hornets are currently, they're a pretty bad team now. But yeah, so I don't know how they're going to do from there. But yeah, like
I think it's cool from a standpoint for Seth Curry, if I might add this, that he gets to go play where his dad played.
Oh yeah,
like that part of it's so cool to me.
I didn't think about that. That's so true. Yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully he actually sees the court. I don't see why he wouldn't.
No.
Especially with the offloading they've done. They might as well just roll a few people out there and just see, throw some stuff to the wall and see what sticks, kind of thing, because they just lost their 10th game in a row last night by 40 to the Bucks. I mean, they're 10-42 on the season. Let these guys have their moments on the floor. Let a guy like Leaky Black make a name for himself. Let Brandon Miller go out there and make a name for himself. I mean, Miles Bridges, he just had a couple of 35, 38 plus point games in a row. Let these young guys go at it, man. I think with a fully healthy Hornet squad, Seth Curry probably doesn't get a lot of run. But right now, missing LaMelo and missing, Mark Williams in their starting lineup, even though he's a big man, I know that. But injuries have opened the door for a lot of people to play for the Hornets this year,
Sure. Yeah.
So maybe Seth Curry gets some run. He rocks the number 30 that Dell used to wear. I'm hearing that he's going to wear the number 30.
That's sick.
So he's going to wear Dell's number, which is awesome. Let him get some run out there. It'll be nice to see, on throwback nights, that 30 back out on the court for them.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100% agreed with everything there. And yeah, I'm looking forward to when LaMelo gets healthy and you see the duo of LaMelo and Miller, and then as well as these other solid role players that they're taking in. So yeah, I'm not saying that the future is entirely bright, but it's at the very least a fun future. So that'll be it'll be an interesting thing to watch.
If I'm the Hornets, I don't think LaMelo sees the court again this year.
Oh, I 100% agree. Yeah.
What's the point of bringing him back?
No, zero.
Guy's been battling injuries for 2.5 years straight. You gotta just leave him be for now.
Yep. Yeah, but anyway, so so obviously the Mavs made the big trade. The Celtics, I wasn't expecting them to make a big trade. Obviously, they're above and beyond everyone else in the league in standings. But they did, however, make two moves that improved their team. They traded Lamar Stevens and draft capital for Xavier Tillman, who was one of the Grizzlies' backups for big man, and they also traded some draft capital for Jaden Springer of the Sixers. So as far as it goes for Tillman, this is a very solid move for them. It addresses some of their needs in the front courts. Luke Cornett and I don't know how to say his first name, but Nkeda had been great for their roles as playing like the third center role behind Porzingis and Horford. And I know that Luke Cornett provides that energy off the bench. I know that all the teammates and fans loved him. He's a lovable guy. But can he really be the guy if Porzingis and Horford go down, which knock wood, but I really hope it doesn't happen. But you got to prepare for it. Can Luke Cornett be the guy? Can Cornett be the guy that steps up? I don't know. Can Xavier Tillman be the guy that steps up? Again, I don't know. But he provides a better chance than Cornett, in my opinion. Also, people
having depth. Having more people that can step into that position, though, and at least make a minimal impact is priceless in a playoff run.
Yeah, 100%. And people are mentioning this with Tillman. When if and when the Celtics play the Bucks in the playoffs, which the Knicks and the Cavs are great, but I do still think that the Bucks are the number one threat to the Celtics. Who guards Giannis? Horford has guarded Giannis for the past two times they played each other in the postseason in 2022 and 2019, and he's done a pretty solid job on him. Who is it after that? You don't want to put the Jays on them just because it takes up it takes up too much of the on defense that they're out of energy on offense. Porzingis isn't really quick laterally. The next best guy off that, which would have probably been O'Shea Brissett. So I think Xavier Tillman is a great body for that. He's long, even though he's not that tall. Neither was Grant Williams, and he did a pretty solid job on them. So I think that, like my take is that I think that Xavier Tillman is going to be the guy that steps off the bench. And then for Jaden Springer, I just don't know why the Sixers made this move. They have some open roster spots as of now. I'm sure they did it financially, but I feel like you should never make a move based with a contender unless it's to massively impact your team, which I don't think you should set. There's different ways to salary dump besides trading with the best team in the leagues. But those are my thoughts.
To be honest, I don't know how much. Look, the Springer move was all right for Boston. I actually like Jaden Springer. I think he brings a little bit of burst to the second unit of Boston. And the other move, like you said, Xavier Tillman, you hit the nail on the head. That's a guy you can plug in. He can be a body or even a decoy or a guy that collects fouls in a series with Giannis. You don't want to put the Drew Jays on them because they're going to end up fouling the crap out of Giannis.
Yeah.
And you need those guys on the court for, like you said, their offense.
Mm-hmm.
And Brown a little more for his two-way abilities too. But the Jaden Springer, I didn't see it as a huge move. I didn't see it as a negative. I think Philly might see the writing on the wall because to me, with this team without Joel Embiid is not the contender I thought they were. They have looked horrible. Let's just put it that way. Especially last night against an Atlanta team that really has no business beating Philadelphia. Once again, takes down Philadelphia, but no Maxey, no Embiid. I think Hield made his debut for them last night. But back to Tillman. I just, again, you said moves that move the needle. I'm not sure that they really. I think Boston, they didn't need to make the needle moving moves, right?
No.
Best starting five in the league by far. I think what they did was add depth for a playoff run, and I think they added the two best pieces they could add without spending too much.
Right. 100% agree with that. And as far as it goes for the Sixers, I know that I think both Woj and Shams reported about a week ago that Embiid was going to be reevaluated in 4 weeks. If they got like a legit procedure done, it shouldn't take just 4 weeks to fully heal. And I know this is going to sound like just me saying like I'm going to be ducking Embiid in the playoffs, but if they want him to fully heal, which they should, because they didn't, because I know that last year they brought him back, and let's be honest,
and the year before, he played with this in 2021 as well.
That's right, yeah, and I don't know, I just don't. I don't think it's worth it. I don't think the Sixers are like the best. Like I don't think they're the best team that has room for their best player hobbling around. I think I think
the problem every year with Philly is that Joel Embiid breaks down at the wrong times.
Yep,
he breaks down at playoff time. He'll either get this same knee injury will come in the first round, second round, and he'll try to play through it, but he's not the same dominant Embiid, and that's the reason why they've never been able to get over the hump of the second round with him.
Exactly.
It's because he's never 100% in the second round for them to advance.
Mm-hmm.
So if I were them and they think they can make the playoffs without Embiid, at least make the playoffs. I'm not saying, be contenders or anything. Sit him till the playoffs and have him come back for the playoffs. If he's fully healthy again.
Yeah, I don't know.
But at the same time, like that team runs through Embiid. As great as Maxey has been, as improved as Maxey is, they need both of them to be contenders. They can't have
He's not a number one yet.
just
Yeah.
Maxey be the guy on that team.
No, he's not number one yet. Yeah, but anyway, so yeah, so that's it for the Celtics and the Mavs trades. But now we're going to talk about both the winners, who we think the winners and the losers of the trade deadline were, because even like we said, even though there weren't any massive needle moving trades, obviously there are going to be some winners and losers based on what moves you did make, and also the moves that you didn't make as well, which are actually like the list of my losers as well. So Nick, who are some of the winners that you had?
Well, we already talked about one of the winners, in my opinion. That would be the Dallas Mavericks. I think they improved. I don't think they're the biggest winners, though.
Me neither.
I think there's a general consensus out there, and I agreed with them as soon as the move went down. That's the New York Knicks.
Yep.
I think they are the most improved. If you're going to look at teams that improved at the deadline, the Knicks, they addressed the needs perfectly. Perfectly. They got Burks, a 40% three-point shooter, next to Brunson now and next to their playmakers. And then you add Bogdanovich, a guy who a 20-point per game scorer that can create his own shot from the wing.
He's been underrated for years
on defense. He's not a negative defender, right? And besides, before that, you got OG Anunoby. But the big W for them, the big win for the Knicks was they gave up none of their first-round picks. So even if they fall short this summer, they can go get a Donovan Mitchell, who we already know wants to be in New York because he's a Mets fan, just like yourself. And I'm born and raised in New York. Or even like, another one of these guys that are on the market. For the Knicks, you're not looking at a Trae Young. You're not looking at, for me personally, I don't think you'd look at a Zach LaVine to bring in. DeMar DeRozan would be another one that they could possibly go after if the Bulls go into fire sale. DeJounte Murray, does that really move the needle with this Knicks team? I don't know. But anyway, I'm getting a little sidetracked. But I think the Knicks really, Bogdanovich and Burks, without giving up first-round picks, is just masterpiece, chef's kiss. Leon Rose really bouncing back and winning Knicks fans over because he was not a favorite in that building.
Nope.
Headed into the season. And what about you? Or do you have any bigger winners than the Knicks and the Mavs?
Not bigger winners than the Knicks and the Mavs for sure. I'm someone who has underestimated the Knicks every step of the way for the past 2 years. Last year, I didn't think they were gonna. I thought they were gonna be a bottom end playoff team if they made the playoffs at all, and they ended up winning a playoff series. I thought Jalen Brunson was overrated. Obviously proved wrong there, and even going into the year, I said okay, he's probably gonna take a step back. He hasn't taken a step back. And again, I don't think that. And again, okay, I'm like okay, the Knicks are gonna be a first round exit again, which they might be still, but probably not. Literally every step of the way. And my younger brother Matt, he's been on this pod 2 times. His 2 best friends from college, they're massive Knicks fans too. So yes, so they made sure to make fun of me every step of the way for talking about how wrong I was with them.
The way that they, for me, the Knicks, it's the way that they have gotten the most from everybody who has had to step up.
Exactly.
I mean, it's insane. Like they're without Julius Randle right now. They're without Mitchell Robinson right now. And you got Hartenstein out there playing like Moses Malone.
It's ridiculous.
Like he's out there and he's bringing like great vibes to the team. You see him during intros firing everybody up, firing the fans up. And like, it's crazy. Josh Hart stepping up. Dante DiVincenzo is like channeling his inner Stephen Curry lately, going off for 38 the other night on the Mavericks. I know they lost the game.
Yeah.
But still, the night before he had 36. I mean, they're getting the most out of everybody. And then when you add the leadership it breaks my heart because I had Brunson for a couple of years. I saw this potential in him and just really happy for him that he's doing it somewhere else.
Yeah.
If it's going to be anywhere else, my home city, New York, is fine by me.
Mm-hmm.
But this Knicks team, they're just loaded on both sides of the ball.
Seriously.
Yeah, with a healthy lineup, man. You got Anunoby. You can throw him on their best offensive wing player, and then you got Mitchell Robinson, who's a stud defensively.
Yep.
Let's just say it how it is. Athletic, versatile, can step out and guard the perimeter if he needs to. Knicks are scary, man. I do not think that the conference finals are a pipe dream if healthy.
Yeah, 100%. Um, yeah, you brought up Hardenstein and DiVincenzo. And it's funny because when I was doing my research for the All-Star game, I was looking at a lot of the advanced stats, and both Hardenstein and Dante were like at the top of the East. I'm like, how the hell did this happen? Like, it's just unreal.
Hardenstein, man, he's got a couple
Yeah,
of 20, 15, 20 rebound games lately. I'm like, man, maybe the hard fought physical big man, rebounding ain't dead because
yeah,
I'm watching him and he's fighting for rebounds,
yep,
and I love that stuff. So
yeah. Anyway, so I had one more winner in the deal. Like no, in the deal. In the trade deadline, and that was the Thunder actually. I know, yeah, and it's not that they made a huge trade. It's that they're overachieving now, and they made one more move. Um, Gordon Hayward isn't who he was in 2017, but he's still a very solid wing. I don't I still think that Lou Dort is going to start over him, but that being said,
as he should.
yeah, 100%, yeah, without a doubt. That being said, the one thing the Thunder lack is experience, and bringing in a vet who's been there before. He hasn't made a deep playoff run, but he's still someone who's played basketball for a long time. Um, and yeah, I definitely think it's a win for the Thunder.
Here's the thing. That's a win for Charlotte. They get to
Yeah,
move off that contract. But here's the thing. I saw a lot of people confused about Hayward's contract. Hayward's a free agent at the end of the
yeah,
year. This is the final year of that atrocious contract.
yep.
So they don't take on the full 31 million for a year.
No,
I hope
yeah,
people know that. They probably take on 15 million for the rest of the year, maybe even a little less because it's a little over halfway. And like you said, they get a veteran presence off the bench for a team. Now you would have hoped there was somebody who's actually like competed in the playoffs lately in his career,
right.
but at the same time, veteran presence on the court is very underrated in the NBA. You hear these guys on their podcast talk about it all the time and how much having a veteran, even just on the bench, really helped them in their careers.
100%.
So, yeah, like you said, he could be that guy for somebody for sure.
Yeah,
As for the Thunder, man, I'm like so impressed with them this year.
so impressed.
They are scary good, and the SGA is a legit MVP candidate.
100%. Yeah, yeah. I think it was either the MVP ladder or the MVP tracker on Basketball Reference that had him number 2 behind Jokic. So yeah, 100% a
Yeah.
candidate, MVP candidate. But yeah, we'll go into the losers now actually, and I mentioned actually earlier how some of the losers were the trades that they didn't make. It's my three trades actually are teams that didn't make any moves that I thought should have. So I'll go first. My first loser is that I'm sure it doesn't surprise anyone. It's the Lakers. Um, I don't know if the Lakers are contenders. They're currently 3 games over 500. I want to say in the 7th seed, I think. Um, and people want to say, oh, they were the 7th seed last year in the mid-conference finals. That doesn't happen every year. You can't expect just because you have LeBron and AD that they're going to step up come playoff time and then carry the team, especially when the West seems a little bit stronger this year. I don't know. LeBron's 39. He's going to be going into year 22 next year. And I know we say every year LeBron's going to slow down eventually, which he hasn't yet, but which is unreal. But
Unbelievable.
yeah, it's ridiculous. But I really think they should have made just like one small move here and there. Like I know that Nick Wright was talking about it yesterday. Like did the Sixers really give up that much for Buddy Hield? Did the like maybe not they probably couldn't have gotten Bogdanovich, but like the Knicks, yeah, again we mentioned the Knicks didn't get rid of much for that. They could have made just like a couple small moves that would have given them like an edge to like move up in the standings just a little bit.
Here's the thing though, like with what they have to use in a deal, um, they've given up a lot of their draft capital,
Yeah,
their near future draft capital. They refuse to part with Reeves. D'Angelo Russell has played much better over the last couple of weeks, and even the reports came out that they said, um, sorry,
you're good.
even the reports came out that they said like his improved play has kind of kept his job safe with us. But you're right, like these injuries have decimated their depth, and you would have hoped they made a move for a shooter like Buddy Hield, um, or even just another wing scorer that can create their own offense, like
Right.
a Bogdanovich, probably would have would have moved the needle a little bit for them. So I completely agree that they're a loser of the deadline.
Yeah. Anyone else? I have two more, but I think we may have had similar ones.
I think in a slight way, and people might not agree with me here, and that's fine. But I think the Sacramento Kings, for not making a move, that might come back to haunt them. I know that they were trying to rid themselves of Harrison Barnes. Listen, they're playing well. They beat Denver by like 20 points last night.
Yeah.
They were like, even the final score I think was 7, but they were just demolishing them the whole game. It wasn't even close. And of course, the duo of Fox and Sabonis has been great. Keegan Murray developing really nicely out there. I think one more body, one more shooter,
Right.
kind of moving away from Kevin Huerter probably would have been the move, because I think even dating back to 2022 and with Atlanta, and then last year with Sacramento, Huerter is not somebody you can depend on in big moments.
Yeah, 100%
anymore.
Yeah, and
So they got him for cheap, and in that deal with Atlanta a couple years ago, in my opinion, they didn't give up a lot to get Kevin Huerter. So, but you would have liked to move away probably from that direction. I'm not saying they would have been able to easily trade Kevin Huerter, but moving away from that direction, Harrison Barnes, package him with Huerter and some draft capital, and you probably would have had something cooking to bring in Bogdanovich or Heald, or bring back Heald. That would have been nice.
Yeah, it's funny actually. Do you know Aaron Schroeder, possible chairs from TikTok?
Yep.
Yeah. So obviously massive Kings fan. Yeah, he gave like a list of players that they could have traded for, and Buddy Hield was not one of those players because of like supposedly there's bad blood there with Buddy Hield and the Kings. But
sure there is. I'm sure he knows more than me about this Kings bad blood. I'm just saying like they could have really used another shooter.
Yeah, 100%.
Huerter hasn't been that guy. Huerter, if he makes 35% of the threes he took last year in that first round series against Golden State, they probably win that series.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah.
He shot like 15% from 3.
It was that tight,
and he's been trending downward since that 2021 run with Atlanta to the East Conference Finals. So
yeah.
I also think maybe do you have Atlanta on that list somewhere?
No, I don't actually know.
I don't think they're losers for holding on to Murray and Young and like not going into full rebuild mode yet. But I think they're bordering on it. They're teetering on it for sure.
Yeah. I've never liked the Hawks. And I said in 2021 that I was proven wrong, but I feel like since then, like I've been proven right that you can't go too far in the playoffs with Trae Young. He's obviously for the past 30 years or so, every single title team has like besides Steph Curry, Dwayne Wade, and Isaiah Thomas, those are the only 3 players that have ever been the best player on a title team as a smaller guy. So I don't know what to think about the Hawks, but yeah, I don't know.
I think there's a reason that they are in one of the longest championship droughts in basketball right now. There's a reason they haven't won a championship since 1958. And they just cannot put a team together. They've always had a star or a superstar, and they've never been able to get it right with the pieces they put around them. They did it with Dominique Wilkins. They did it with Trae Young. They did it with Pistol Pete before Dominique. They've done it time and time and time again. They had Lou Hudson and Pete Maravich on the same team and couldn't get them the big men necessary to win games. It was just crazy. How bad the Hawks have been over the years. Even when they had that team, that starting 5 that won the Players of the Month. I think it was Jeff Teague, Kyle Korver, Al Horford, Josh Smith, and I think there was one more. Remember they had the starting 5 won the whole starting 5 won Players of the Month.
Oh, and so it was Millsap, Horford, Teague, Carroll, Korver.
Yeah. Even that. Listen to those names you just listed.
Well, that's what they said.
That was like one of the best starting fives they've had in the last 30 years.
Yeah, because that's what they said. They said like all five of those guys. Yeah, Carroll didn't make the All-Star game, but like the four guys that made the All-Star game, those aren't superstars. You could debate they aren't All-Star caliber players, but they won so many damn games that you needed to reward them in some way by picking them. Like we can't just pick one of those players to make the All-Star games because obviously they're not carrying the team. So that's how they rewarded them pretty much.
We live in a world where Damari Carroll was named co-player of the month. I just want to let you know that's crazy.
Yeah, there was like I saw like a list a while ago players that won. Like I think Ty Lawson did it once, or it was just like those types of players. Yeah, but
no, it's just kind of funny. Like back to the Hawks though, they have a history of doing this.
Yeah,
where they show they had the recipe correct in 2021.
Yeah,
it was all there for them.
Mm-hmm.
Trey doesn't get hurt. They probably make an upset.
They could, yeah. Because
but,
because Giannis was out too. So it's tough to determine that. But
and then if there was any other losers to the deadline, you probably have the best insight into that than I do right now. Who were your other losers?
Two more losers. I got the Bulls and the Warriors. The Bulls.
You know what? Yeah, I agree.
We talked about how the Hawks. We didn't know if they should click reset or not. The Bulls showed a light of being one of the best teams of the East in 2022. Then Lonzo got hurt, and then they just completely fell apart. And they've just been average since then. I don't know why they signed Vucevic to that contract. I thought maybe they could use him as a salary filler to trade for someone else. But obviously, I don't know if that's going to happen or not. And then I saw a report that said they want to keep DeRozan long term. DeRozan's 34 years old. What does long term mean to you? Does it mean like an extra 2 years because you want to like help him bring in another free agents? Obviously,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. Yeah, and then for the Warriors, I don't know what to think about the Warriors and what moves they can make because Klay Thompson is like let's call a spade a spade. He's not a good basketball player anymore. He's washed. He gets hot on some nights. He can't be the second or third best player on a championship team anymore, especially making that much money. And he's got to take a pay cut. And I know that someone said the other night when they saw that video of him that came out of him like flipping out when he got taken out. No one has handled being washed worse than him. Like he has not accepted the fact that he's not the player he once was. And yeah, he just got to be. He should like. I'm not saying he should retire by any stretch of the means, but he's got to take a step back and or take like the back seat, and he hasn't accepted that yet.
Adjust your role. Adjust your role.
Exactly.
Look, I always bring this guy up when I talk about adjusting your role. We've seen players do it all over the place. But Ron Harper is the perfect example of this.
Yep.
Ron Harper was a borderline. He should have been Rookie of the Year in Cleveland. 25 point per game, 20 to 25 point per game scorer consistently. 6-7 assists early in his career. Killing it with the Clippers after he left Cleveland. And then when he got to Chicago, in order to win championships, he was like, I'll do whatever it takes. I'm going to be the defensive front court member next to MJ, and we're just going to shut teams down. Sit out by the third quarter. We're done. And that's exactly what happened. They went out there and became champions, and he did it again in LA. He played a very minimal role, and they won championships in LA. Not saying that Klay can be the lockdown defender. As a matter of fact, I don't think he's a quarter of the defender he used to be in his prime. But his jump shot is still one of the best we've ever seen. So he's clearly still valuable. As long as he can get up and down the court and shoot the ball, he's clearly still valuable. As a starter in today's NBA, probably not. Now, he's getting paid way too much money to be a sixth man, so they can't do that, right? And plus, they've got Chris Paul coming off the bench. But with Kuminga emerging the way he is, you have to take a look at bringing Klay in off the bench after the All-Star break if you want to make a real playoff run, in my opinion. And then, you got another reason the Warriors, we didn't even mention them, but Andrew Wiggins is another thing.
Wiggins, Klay, and Chris Paul are holding the team back. It's like they're gonna have a lot of money off. I think they're gonna have like a good amount of money next year, but still, like I don't know how much money they can make up because they're still paying Steph and Dre that money. So, but yeah, so maybe the thought process was next year we're gonna make some moves. Like maybe get Klay to take less money, maybe trade Wiggins for better pieces as his contract gets not as ugly because he has fewer years left. But I don't know. Like,
I'm telling you right now that Dunleavy is not having a good start to his tenure.
nope.
But
Yeah.
thank God they got rid of Poole
Oh
because
my,
he's been rough too.
he is brutal. Like, yeah, like I saw someone
I
say,
think
yeah.
I know Chris Paul's been hurt and everything, but still think the Warriors won that deal.
They said,
I mean, like his attitude, his ego is out of
yeah,
control. And he's just not. He's not. He hasn't been good. I don't want to say he's not good because he's young and he could bounce
yeah,
back next year, but he has not been good.
yeah. But I saw
He's
someone
got one of the worst plus minuses in the NBA.
it's ridiculous. Yeah, and I saw someone say like Draymond like punched Poole's like love out of the game. Like he has not been the same player since.
I
Yeah,
can't believe some of the stuff I'm watching
it's insane.
from him, man. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Now, as far as Chicago, I do want to say this:
Mhm.
they got dealt crappy hand
That's true.
because, in my opinion, I think they were getting ready to make the move for Bogey or Burks or something like that, which would have been a great move for them. But Levine heard, "Oh, I'm going to Detroit." No, I'm not. I'm shutting myself down. Knee surgery.
Yeah,
So how do you move off Levine now? Now you gotta wait. Now how do you even move off Levine in the offseason?
I don't think you can. No, yeah.
And how do you move? DeRozan's getting a lot of money. How do you move off him?
Hmm.
Like you said,
How
he's
much
getting
longer is his
older.
deal
He's
for?
been great.
Yeah.
He's been great for them. But
Mhm.
again, how much is that really impacting winning? And Vooch is a double machine, but he's not he's not what they need on defense.
No.
That's for sure.
Yeah. But I know that you wanted to talk about some the two things like potential buyout candidates and also actually first we'll talk about the players that survived the trade deadline. So one of the players that I think of first is Malcolm Brogdon because he's been pretty solid for the Blazers. He's like put together good numbers. He's been the Blazers haven't been a good team, but yeah, he seems like he's been the one like keeping the locker room together. Like really no drama coming out of there. I thought the Knicks were going to trade for him. I think that Burks and Bogdanovich are not like Brogdon might be the best player out of those three guys, but I think I think I take the two of them over Brogdon. But I don't know. Like I thought, like another contender was going to trade for him since like he's a solid player. But I guess maybe it's the fact that he's a free agent after this year, and also he fell apart last year during the playoffs.
Yeah. I'm shocked at DeJounte Murray.
Yep.
DeJounte Murray and even Clint Capella, Onyeka Okongwu, DeAndre Hunter, like the Hawks
Yeah.
just held on to their squad. And I'm sitting here and I'm wondering why. If there's
Exactly.
potential that you're going full rebuild after this season, right? Say Quinn Snyder stays or is out. Do you really want Quinn Snyder leading the rebuild? I don't know that you do.
Hmm.
But to have the potential to go into full rebuild after the season, why not dangle one of these big assets out there and see what you could have gotten midseason to help your team? Probably saw the fact that the draft capital wasn't great that they were being offered. Really only a couple teams, um, really only a couple teams interested in Murray in the end, right?
Right.
It was really just, I think it was just the Lakers and maybe the Knicks were interested in DeJounte Murray, which that would have been crazy for the
Yeah.
Knicks to get him.
Hmm.
That would have been nuts. So like it was mind blowing to me that the Hawks dealt no one.
Yeah. And then I had one more player actually. That was I brought the Bulls again. Alex Caruso is another player that I thought was going to get moved.
Yeah, I thought Wiggins was also going to get moved.
Yeah, yep. He's
I definitely thought Andrew Wiggins was going to
a
get
lot of
moved,
guys. Yeah,
and I definitely thought I don't know, there was somebody else out there that I thought probably would have gotten moved. Didn't see the Pat Bev move coming.
no.
That shocked the hell out of me because I listen to Barstool a lot, and
Mhm.
I'm not like a fan or anything, but I rock with Roan
I like
from
Ron.
the
Yeah,
Pat Bev podcast,
yeah,
and he just like completely disheveled the whole pod. It was like during the podcast, the news broke the other day. It was just one of the all-time great podcast moments. Was Pat Bev being dealt right in the middle of filming his
yeah,
podcast, and
fun. Yeah,
Roan, just who's a Sixers fan, goes to all the Sixers games, gets on court access because Pat Bev's on the team. Is just like that's all gone now.
Yeah, it's
And like Pat Bev's history with Dame, I thought that was really interesting. But
well, yeah,
even last night, Pat Bev's there with the clipboard in his hand on the sidelines,
he's an
coaching
animal.
his
Yeah,
teammates, man.
yeah. Well,
I would love to play with a guy like Pat Bev on my team.
Yeah, I don't know. Like as someone who watches Pat Bev, I'm not a fan. But like it seems like everyone who's played with him really enjoys him. And you brought up how Pat Bev like has like the history with Dame. He also had this history with Russ as well. Like I know that on the court it didn't work out, but it seemed like they didn't have any problems butting heads or anything. So I don't. Yeah. I don't know. Like I'm not a big fan of Pat Bev's game. I also think he has a bit of an ego. But yeah, I feel like that's part of the game though.
Absolutely. I think that he knows that he rubs people the wrong way.
Yeah.
So he embraces it.
Yeah.
And it throws them off their game. Like you've seen it plenty of different occasions. It doesn't work for him.
Mm-hmm.
Plenty it has. So, can't knock him for, the teams still want him. Teams still bringing him in. So he's doing something right,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, yeah. And as far as any other players not moving, I think, after last year, leading up to the deadline, we got Kyrie, we had KD.
Right.
Like you said, the year before that, we had Ben Simmons, we had James Harden. You kind of knew the noise wasn't as loud heading into the deadline. It was very lackluster. It didn't seem like teams were desperate to make that big splash.
Right.
And again, the NBA is as wide open as I've ever seen it. Right now, especially that Western Conference. That Western Conference is loaded. And even in the East, no one's even talking about Cleveland being 17-1 in their last 18 games.
It's
like smoking teams without Darius Garland and Evan Mobley even on the court.
Yeah.
I mean, they were taking down Milwaukee. No Mobley, no Garland. Like it was just they have been on a run that is like, it makes me think, is Donovan Mitchell really available this summer?
I don't think he should be. Like, yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. It's up to him in the long run, right?
True. Yeah. But I know the last thing we wanted to talk about was potential buyout candidates. Obviously this year is different with because I looked at the list. Pretty much not all, but like a good amount of the contenders aren't able to sign buyout candidates who made over the mid-level exception. So the Celtics, the Bucks, I think the Lakers. I know the Sixers can, but like it was a list of 7 or 8 teams that aren't able to sign players that made over the mid-level exception. So like Marcus Morris made like 60 million. He can't sign with the Celtics or the Bucks. There's a couple that come to mind though for players that can. Like players that are signed with who they want. The first one that comes to mind, coming from a homer, Danilo Gallinari, just got bought up by the Pistons. I think he'll sign with someone for sure. Someone
will take him. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know that Dan Greenberg from Celtics Barstool has like that one video of the Danilo Gallinari song in Italian singing. So I could really hope that the Celtics sign him just solely for that video. But yeah, anyone else you had in mind?
Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry's interesting to me because obviously not working out in Miami. Also, Spencer Dinwiddie's another interesting one.
Dinwiddie's one,
in my opinion. He could be bought out. I still don't think that Dennis Schroeder's actually going to play in Brooklyn. I refuse to almost believe. I just like that move makes no sense to me for Brooklyn. It makes no sense at all. I'm almost holding out hope that Schroeder hits the buyout market. I know he's not going to, but it's just crazy. I didn't see that really making sense for either squad. Toronto should have kept him.
It was like a 2K move. Like why would anyone make it? It's just like weird. Like not even. It's I don't know.
Very. Yeah. And who did Toronto send to Brooklyn? I mean, who did Brooklyn send to Toronto?
Dinwiddie.
Was it?
It was Dinwiddie.
Was it in the deal? I don't know. Anyway, I I think it's Lowry. Getting back to the buyout candidates, Lowry's interesting to me for one reason. This guy
Well,
hits a different gear in the
I was in
playoffs.
Charlotte now, just so you know. You out of Miami, he's in Charlotte now.
Yeah, no, I
Okay,
think he'll be bought out though.
yeah,
Is my
yeah. I think he will too. But yeah, he really, yeah, he's not
No,
on the same
I'm
timeline.
mentioning with Miami because last year with Miami, this year so far with Miami, he didn't look great.
He's a shell of
And
himself. Yeah.
but in the playoffs last year, guy hits a different gear every time he makes the playoffs.
Mhm.
He does something, whether it's late clutch defensive possessions, late clutch threes. The guy does something.
Mhm.
I personally would love to see Spencer Dinwiddie come back home to Dallas.
That'd be great.
Let's make a run.
Yeah,
You could come off the bench. Luka's gonna find you for open threes. You know he's going to.
absolutely.
You back up Kyrie, you back up you're gonna see your fair share of time on the court.
Mhm.
Whereas you go to LA, I don't know. I don't think that LA it's gonna work in the locker room too well for LA. I feel like
No.
D'Angelo Russell is a little too fragile to accept that move,
Yeah,
if
I
you
don't think
ask
so.
me.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But anyway, they're talking about the Lakers or the Mavericks signing Dinwiddie if he gets bought out. I still think there's a chance, like I said about Schroeder, but other than that, those are the real big buyout
Right.
candidates for
Yeah.
me.
hmm
Now I don't know if Lowry can sign wherever he wants. Can he?
Lowry cannot. No. He made over the mid level exception, so he can't sign with. Yeah, I mentioned them. So it's the Celtics, the Suns, the Bucks, the Warriors. I feel like the Lakers are on that list too. I could be wrong.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah, I think they are. Well, yeah, they're paying LeBron, AD, Reeves, D'Lo. So yeah, I doubt it that they're not over that
Yeah,
second year.
They gave Rui a new deal. They
Yeah,
gave
yeah,
Hachimura a new
yeah. So,
deal.
yeah, so yeah,
Vanderbilt a new deal.
yeah. I just named 5 teams. I don't know. I feel like that might be it. Because I know the Sixers made those moves to get under the apron so they can sign who they want for the minimum. But
be interesting to see if somebody takes a flyer on Boogie.
it's been a couple years, but I don't know. I've never been. I've never been a big fan of his game, but I know that all the pros love him. So maybe that's an area that I'm wrong in. Yeah. But so that's pretty much all we have for the day. But before I give my closing, Nick, is there anything that you want to plug?
I got nothing going on right now that I want to plug. Everybody can check me out on fadeawayworld.net, Nick Mack. I articles released daily. I write daily. Everything from the 1950s up until today. So no matter what you like, what era you're a part of, you'll like what I'm putting out there. So, that's pretty much all I got going on right now.
Perfect. Yeah. And what's your Twitter handle, by the way? Yeah, you have a Twitter.
Nick Mack NBA at NICKMAC NBA.
Perfect.
Very, very easy and simple for him.
Awesome. Yeah, love that. All right, awesome.
Thanks for having me, Chris. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for coming on. So, for those of you watching, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Follow me on all of my social medias. It's All American Hooper on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. You can also take a look at my column at primetimesportstalk.com. This video will also be uploaded to that website as well. They've been generous enough to be uploading all my episodes. But thanks for watching. Yeah, thanks for watching episode 8, and I hope everyone has a great day.